No, it's okay. No, you can eat. It's okay.
How's
But
my volume, by the way?
your volume is amazing. It's probably better than my mic quality. So
Okay,
you're
just making sure. I didn't know if it was going to be too loud or quiet. I don't always mess around with the mic settings and stuff.
no, you sound dandy. It's all good. Um,
Good, good.
but yeah. So Kevin, how are you
Yes.
doing? You haven't been on here before, and
Yes.
it is long overdue. How you doing?
I am doing very nice today. I've been enjoying a good weekend day off before I enter what is about to be my final week of college. So that's gonna
Yo,
that's
let's
gonna be
go.
great.
Is
Yeah.
this, do you mean like final week of your semester or like just
Um,
college period?
Pretty much both. After I complete these two classes that I'm in right now, I will officially be I'll technically be an official graduate. The ceremony is until spring and I don't get my diploma till like a few weeks at least. But yeah, I'll technically be an official graduate of well, you know what? I'll save that for I kind of make this announcement as well in my next video, which should be out either Friday at the earliest or next Sunday.
Yo,
So
let's
you'll be able
go.
to check that out if you're interested. But yeah, I've been doing very well with at least just today. It's been nice to relax and enjoy some at least a little bit of time off before I just dive right into the final stretch. Um
That's great that you're in a good mood. We're gonna ruin that in a few minutes, but
Hey,
um,
I got pasta with meatballs. I'll be fine.
okay. But is this more? No, this is not Star Wars theory. We're done with him. I don't want to touch him anymore. Hi,
I'll be
Nathan.
honest, I'm glad we're not. Like
Yeah,
I'm good.
I can't look at his face anymore. Um, but no, but this is a different man. This is Galactic Initiative. I'm going
Okay.
to He is an interesting person. I have seen one video from him before, and it was a review of the first half of Bad Batch season 3, and it was
Okay.
basically just yelling about how Omega is a Mary Sue and she's perfect at everything, and of course she has.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
was,
That's
and basically he was mad that she has like it's like, oh, of course Omega has the perfect blood for Project Necromancer because
Was that
she's
not literally like set? Okay, I haven't finished Bad Batch season 2 and I haven't even touched season 3. Was that not literally set up in the first season with like this what looked like the snow clone shit or whatever going
well,
on in
I
that one
mean,
Fennec episode? Like what I
just because it
okay.
was set up though doesn't mean it's not woke, Kevin.
Ugh, oh
No, I'm kidding.
no.
But no, it's like, I mean, I don't know. I don't It's weird because like, what does it mean? Like, oh, of course you have the perfect blood, and I'm like, that doesn't make you a Mary Sue.
That sounds racist. Like that just sounds like some Aryan shit. Like you have the perfect blood.
No, it
What
does sound.
the
It does
fuck's that
sound.
supposed to mean?
It does sound really racist.
I know the context for it. This is a joke, obviously, but it's
Yeah.
out of context. It's like, whoa.
By the way, speaking of Aryans, I saw a really no, I saw a really bad joke the other day about Disney Star Wars, and someone was saying like, "Oh,
Oh, oh god.
it doesn't make sense that the Empire would be around after the Battle of Endor." They're like, "Why are there so many of them?" They're like, "It's not like Nazis exist today." And then someone said, "How do we tell him?"
How do we
Okay,
tell?
obviously, like there's a big difference because like the Empire is like after the Battle of Endor, it's like Thrawn and Gideon are like active military combatants.
Right.
Um, like it makes like that's different from like just people who are racist, but it was just the way it was worded that made me laugh because it's like,
Yeah.
well, I'm like technically yes, but
It's in that way where it's like, well, okay, yeah, we're not in World War II anymore, but like
yeah,
hmm.
you know,
Uh,
it's if that was funny, but which is funny because I actually do agree with the prospect of I don't like that there's so many Imperials left after Endor because it's like, what was the point of the Battle of Jakku? Because like that was the end of the war. Imperials resigned. Like it,
Interesting.
it feels like they don't even like. It feels like with what they're planning, it's as if the Battle of Endor happened and the Emperor died, and all Imperial forces just scattered and retreated into space, and then the New Republic formed and declared the Empire fugitives. It's like they forgot that they signed a treaty and the Imperials all turned over. Like, it's weird. So it's like, there's, like, I think Mando Season 1, I was fine with it, because it was, like, literally just a squad of stormtroopers and, like, a couple death troopers.
Yeah, I can see that. And I don't mind it with Thrawn, because him being, like, away on another planet with, like, a starship of, like, undead troopers and shit, I'm okay, that makes sense.
Thrawn made, everything with Thrawn made sense. Then we get to Mando Season 2, and it's like, there's a Gazanti freighter, and I was like, okay, that's fine, it's one ship. And then it's like, we get to the frickin' fuel station on Morag, and it's like, there are so many shore troopers and TIE fighters, and it's like, how does the New Republic not know?
Right. If anything, it kind of makes like them allow like the rise of the First Order. If we look at this, I get the idea they're trying to go for. It's trying to show like how the Empire eventually would become the First Order in its ashes. But it does, in hindsight, it does kind of raise the sense of like how pathetic and incompetent is the New Republic if they can't see some of this shit.
I mean, that's true. Like, real world governments are never
okay, to be fair, yeah, that's actually it's I'm not saying it's unrealistic. It's just like, you know, it's something to
I'll say this, Mon Mothma, I would rather Mon Mothma over some of the politicians we have now, because at least Mon is trying. At least she's trying, dude.
Right, like at least she made an effort on some shit.
Yeah. But then it's like, in the Mando movie, they have, like, freaking, like, AT-ATs. And it's like, where are they getting this stuff from? I thought the war ended. Where's the Empire getting all this shit? So, it makes sense that they would be, there would be more, considering how vast the galaxy is and how many sectors the Empire... Okay, that's a good point, because it's like...
I will say, I actually will disagree a little. I don't mind the Empire, like, being scattered and there being a good chunk of like legitimate remnants. I do just find it funny that in some cases they're so organized. It's like, interesting that the New Republic didn't know about some of it. Maybe I don't know. Again, I am not like top of my game with especially Disney Star Wars stuff right now, so I wouldn't remember all the details. Plus, I didn't like Mando Season 3 anyway, so it's like I barely remember it.
I'll give this to Mando Season 3 and Ahsoka. They found a way to get around the whole, they're not using stormtroopers. Like, Moff Gideon is enlisting, like, pirates to do his stuff for him. And in Ahsoka, Morgan Elsbeth doesn't even have Imperials to use. She's hiring mercenaries. She has the Inquisitor. She has HK droids. Like, that was cool. Like, that's what I wanted to see more of that, because I was hoping that they would get more creative with like what tools the Empire would have aside from just dirty up some stormtroopers. And I liked what they did with Morgan, because it's kind of like she's utilizing so many different mercenaries and thugs, and the closest thing she has to an Imperial is the ex-Inquisitor, Maruk. So
I will say, though, on that note, like, can I just rant for a second about Maruk? Because, like, what was the point of him? Like,
he was hot, okay? I have a cardboard, by the way, fun fact, I have a cardboard cutout of Maruk in my room, like a life-size...
You're shitting me.
No, I'm not joking. I have a cardboard cutout of Maruk in my room. It's like a one... It's the only because when the show was coming out, people were being like, yo, it's Starkiller, it's the new, like, And I said, and I tweeted out, and I was like,
What?
"This is just some Inquisitor that's gonna like Ahsoka's gonna kill, and then they're gonna be in it for like 2 minutes." And everyone was like, "Joe, you're full of shit. It's Starfire." and I told my mom about it, and she was like, "People are gonna be disappointed." Come Ahsoka episode 4. When Maruk died, me and my mom were laughing so fucking hard because we like it wasn't even that Maruk's death was funny. It was just the fact that I was right.
You predicted that shit. You pulled the fuck. Congratulations, you're a prophet.
No, yeah. And for Christmas, I come down to the Christmas tree and I just see a fucking cutout of Maruk. And
Oh my
mom
god!
was like, my mom was like, "Oh, this is funny." So
That's so good, actually.
yeah. So like. Maruk isn't like I didn't love Maruk, but it's more so just the meme of everyone hyping him up, and then in retrospect, I'm like, he wasn't even that bad of a character because he at least did stuff. Like he got the hyperdrive engine. He distracted Ahsoka. He may or may not have been dating Shin Hati. Like that was pretty cool.
And I used to think that character had no merit, but after that story, I'm like, oh, that was worth it for that. I think in a meta sense.
I added the actor who played him, Paul Darnell, on Christmas when I got the cardboard cutout, and I just said, "Yo," and he was like, "Where did you get that from?" And I was like, "I have no idea."
That's so great.
No, he's a cool dude. I really like him. Like every time I got Maruk merch, like the Black Series figure or the Lego, I would be like, I was like more for the Maruk shrine because I was just like
the Maruk shrine.
But he was I just thought he was funny. Like, and his costume is so cool. It's probably my favorite Inquisitor design, but I hope we see more of him at some point. But
I would like actual backstory for that character if there isn't any. I know.
Yeah, because Baylan knows him. He seems familiar with him, so maybe
right.
Maruk was hunting him, and Baylan convinced him to abandon the Empire, and they became friends, and they went their separate ways.
I especially want to see what happens with like Baylan in Ahsoka season 2 if they do. Again, I like everybody on the planet has said, I hope to God they don't just do the CG recreation shit. Like,
if they do CGI of Maruk, I think not Maruk, a fucking
Baylan.
of Baylan's skull. I think they may like
get sued.
I would be like, I don't think they're gonna be sued because I would assume that they're gonna ask the family and the family would be fine with it. But I think that if they do CG, I hope the family wouldn't be okay with it, but
right. I feel like they'd lose a lot of good graces with some of their fans because it's like
it's like with Tarkin, I gave it a pass because Tarkin was like the first of that era CGI abomination. So like I don't think we realized how weird and disrespectful it was.
Right.
But now
and to be fair, at the same time in 2015, we also had Michael Douglas getting the CGI de-aging for the Ant-Man scenes, and then we got that. And then we got that we got that more in Ant-Man the Wasp with him and Michelle Pfeiffer, and then Captain Marvel did it with Nick Fury. So like
I still think Captain Marvel is the best one that handles.
Yeah, I think because at least not only did the CGI look great, but at least then it was like, you know, we're not trying to overdo it per se.
It was consistent.
I think it's because, honestly, of those MCU movies that at the time, with the Tarkin example, we thought Tarkin was just an extreme example. And even when it was with like the weird Carrie Fisher stuff at the end of Rogue One, we at least understood the circumstances. So there was this weird mixture of it wasn't overdone, and we knew, like, we didn't know what it was going to lead to at the time in this case, but now it's just kind of like,
it was the harbinger.
Right. Now it's just like, okay, enough of CGI Mark Hamill voice. Can we please the Bane? I've seen behind the scenes pictures of the actor they got for Luke in Book of Boba Fett. He looks great. Just have him play.
Looks really good. Yeah.
Just have him play the character, and if his voice sucks, dub it with somebody who can do a good Luke. Like
anyone can do a Luke. And I don't like. It doesn't matter. I don't care if he doesn't sound like Luke. It's not a big deal. I'm sure that you can do. You could probably do it. Anyone can do a Luke Skywalker voice. Like
I'm a Jedi. like my father before me.
That sounded fine. You did fine.
Yeah, like if
great.
fucking Matt Lantner only sounds like half like Hayden Christensen, and he's like considered the best Anakin, it's like I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It doesn't need to
and
sound
let's be real.
same.
Let's don't get me wrong. I like Hayden a lot. I love him. I just I'm a Clone Wars kid, so I
Me
love.
too.
Plus, he was my first autograph, really, from like a celebrity at a con. So that's
I love
biased there. But yeah. And also, let's be real. I don't mind Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. I loved her at first. Now I'm kind of like, okay, I'd like a little more out of her in some scenes. But she's not Ashley Eckstein, and that's okay. Like, we don't care. We don't need the actors to be the exact same. It's just get somebody who's good.
With Rosario, it's more excusable because she's playing a different era of Ahsoka.
Right.
And Ariana Greenblatt, I think, is... I would say Greenblatt also does a good job of doing, like, a different version of Ashley. Like, she's not trying to do, like, an impersonation of her.
Was she a Tales of the Jedi actor? I didn't know she got a third actress.
Ariana Greenblatt was young Ahsoka in the flashbacks.
Oh, right, yeah, okay, I remember that now. Yeah,
No, Tales of the Jedi was still Ashley.
Yeah, I liked her a lot in those flashbacks. I'm not gonna go full. They should make a Clone Wars series about that, but I am like, I thought that was.
I'd be up for more flashbacks with her. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
like,
I don't
need a whole show with her, but I'd love to see more of her in little bits and pieces.
Yeah, and not to spend the whole half hour ragging on the visuals of Ahsoka, but I thought the flashbacks were some of the better looking parts of the show. In some Ahsoka, it's hit or miss for me. I don't think the CGI it failed the show. I think it was just the lighting, and
the lighting was my only issue with Ahsoka. It was just I wish they could have
had they just like relit it a bit differently and brightened some of the colors. I'm not even asking for like superhero comic saturation. Just a tiny bit more contrast or something. I don't know.
You know what I just realized? We're 17 minutes in and we haven't even started the video.
Welcome to your typical live streaming experience. Yes.
Do you wanna start it?
Yeah, the only thing I guess I'll say real quick is I know this has been a conversation in the past, so in regards to the whole, like, because I know this video is going to be like some big discussion about like what George wanted for Star Wars or what he would have wanted for Star Wars, and like I stayed away from those discussions mainly just because, well, one, the Star Wars fandom is the Star Wars fandom. I've made my opinions on it clear in the past, but also the main reason I've stayed away from these kinds of discussions is, I don't know George. I don't know the guy. I don't really look into his life or personal opinions and stuff and this and that. So I don't really know. I know he had plans for the Star Wars sequels before they were changed under different leadership, but I'm not going to stand here and act like, see, this is definitively what the guy would have wanted. I'm like, I don't fucking know the dude. How can I make a statement like that? But what I will say is this. While make no mistake, I don't love all the decisions that have been made under Disney Star Wars. I have projects I like, I have projects I don't, and I don't like worship the feet of Kathleen Kennedy or whatever, or think that they're the people in charge of Star Wars are the best people in the world or what have you. Which is not even an insult to them. It's just me saying, I'm not going one extreme versus like a negative extreme. What I am going to say is, I do think some people need to remember that regardless of what happened, correct me if I'm wrong, but George willingly sold Star Wars to Disney and allowed Kathleen Kennedy to take control. Is that right? Or is there info I missed?
He doesn't care anymore. It's because people are probably like, George is rolling in his grave looking at his baby, and
he's still alive. Rolling in his grave. Bitch.
It's like he probably doesn't care. He's probably like, oh, it's like they made Sabine a Jedi. He's like, I don't really care because I'm not involved anymore. I'm gonna go back to sleep with my billions of dollars. Like,
Yeah.
he probably doesn't give
Plus,
a
he's
shit.
married. He's got like a life outside of Star Wars.
He
So
has a family. He can literally burn money, and it won't affect him. He's literally he could spend like he could literally spend $100,000 a day and still die with like millions of dollars left over.
Right. So while obviously, yeah, and listen, I understand why these conversations happen. I know there's this intent behind them to talk about respecting the creators and respecting the source of a piece of media. And I do think that yes, if you are going to be part of a franchise, you should have at least some respect for the material and some degree of, you treat it right and treat it fairly. But I do also
He did call Disney white slavers.
Okay, that's pretty funny.
That's kind of funny.
That's pretty funny. But I will say sometimes when people bring up a lot of that stuff of like, well, this is what this person would have wanted or this person did just because they were the first person or the source of the idea. Sometimes I get where it comes from, but other times I'm like, okay, like, can we just not with that? Like, let me give you an example, right? Let's say like the guy who made, I know this isn't going to mean much to you, but let's say the guy that made Power Rangers, right? Haim Saban. Let's say people were like, well, this is what Haim Saban would have wanted. I'm going to tell you right here and now, Haim Saban sucks ass. He's a penny pinching piece of shit that was notorious for keeping things cheap for the sake of like making more money off of something with a very low budget. He was very stingy and very particular about stuff. And part of the reason Power Rangers like ended up the way it did with Nickelodeon and a lot of the stuff was because of cheapness, was because of producing the show for cheap, and was because of trying to recapture the Mighty Morphin zeitgeist because that was the only time the brand entered like global phenomena status outside of maybe SPD and Samurai, because the first seasons were the only time he ever bothered to market the show with a lot of money put into it. The reason people only talk about like Tommy's the best Green Ranger and only acknowledge Mighty Morphin is because none of the other seasons, aside from, again, maybe SPD and Samurai, have gotten that kind of attention and backing from the brand. At most, you get like a CBR article saying Power Rangers Beast Morphers is coming out and Hasbro owns it now. And that's it. Or, oh, here's an anniversary. And that's it. Nobody like reviews the shows as much outside of the Ranger fan base. So it's, again, in that instance, it's like, we should, I say we say, fuck the creator. He doesn't care about the brand anymore. He just wants to be cheap with it. And he sold it off anyway. So it's like, screw him. It's grown beyond him. We gotta do new stuff, and we gotta do some things that are better. So
literally the only thing with George that I've looked at him, not looked at him, but have been like, what the hell is wrong with you, is with when he was creating Ahsoka and Dave made like different sketches of her as like a ballerina and stuff like that, or like ballerina inspired, and he's like, make her, put her in a tube top, make her make her skirt as short as possible. And Dave was like, George, I don't know if that's a good idea.
That was one of those, Ahsoka's Clone Wars design, like the early season ones, that's one of those things where in hindsight, I'm like, oh my God, what were they thinking? As a kid,
I'm so happy Dave basically said that's not canon anymore, and he's retconned it out of existence.
Right. As a kid, I didn't notice. I was just watching Ahsoka. Like, I didn't care about like the dress or anything. But now that I'm older, I am like, oh wow, that really made it.
She's 14. Oh boy.
Like what were we doing there, pal?
I like how the older Ahsoka gets, the less sexualized her outfits are.
in hindsight, really, yeah, it is like, oh yeah,
George got less and less involved.
Because George, yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I'm sure George isn't like a pervert, but it was weird that he wanted that.
Yeah, and I'm stuff changes and stuff, and I understand that, like, and that's just a problem in animation in general, where a lot of the times there are like these teenage characters, but unfortunately they think teenager automatically means like, oh well, they'll have issues about maturing, so they'll want to wear stuff that makes them look older, so to speak. I understand that's a whole
Ahsoka isn't
issue.
sexy. I really
Right.
hope you don't think Ahsoka is sexy because she's a child.
That's the thing,
I
though.
would
Yeah,
hope that
that's
you don't think that.
right. That's the problem, is that they think this stuff in regards to it. When it comes to animation, there is kind of this thing I've noticed where a lot of older cartoons or like 2000s cartoons, there'll be teenage characters at times where they're clearly in stuff that's meant to make them look older, and sometimes it's the point of a message or an episode or something, but other times it's like, okay, why did you draw this character like that? It's something people have commented on, like with Disney's Ariel, like Jasmine, like they're what, 16 and 15,
Well, Ariel
and
was
they
like fine,
but at
because
least with Ariel it's like, yeah,
she's
there's
a mermaid.
right, and the clothing system was different and all that, but
Every
yeah, well,
mermaid was shirtless, so it was like
right.
when
The point
everyone's
is,
sexualized, no one will be.
right. I do agree with you. That is the one thing I've heard with George, where it was like, what was the point there, dude?
What if that's
like,
one of the 10 points in this video? It's Ahsoka was decent. Ahsoka was like,
oh god, oh no,
just
no.
just super sus. But no, all right, let's finally press play and see what this is about. You ready?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
we're gonna hold hands. We're gonna be fine.
Well, we both have our hands
The
up in our
Acolytes
PFPs.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Might as well. All
the
right.
Acolytes' recent failure.
Okay, we start off with the Acolytes' recent failure. This is great.
Yay, a topic
The
I'm totally not
Acolytes'
tired
recent
of.
failure prompted reflection on Star Wars' 12 horrible years as a Disney property. This video isn't another catalog of Kathleen Kennedy's poor stewardship. It isn't a celebration of the Acolytes' reported extinction. It isn't an added shovel load of dirt on The Last Jedi's coffin. It isn't a...
What does The Last Jedi have to do with the Acolyte again?
I was about to say, for a second, I was appreciating his language of like, okay, here's what this video is not going to be. But then you throw in The Last Jedi, the last second, which, to be fair,
I don't even like that movie that much, but it's like, I'm so fucking sick of people talking about The Last Jedi. It's not even funny anymore.
Same. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say people can't talk about it years after whatever, because that'd be hypocritical with stuff I talk about. But
you're allowed to talk about it, but it's like,
right. There's some people who talk about it to a certain degree where I'm just like, oh my God, enough. It's why I don't talk about the movie. I don't even know what I think of the movie anymore. I haven't seen it I think since I got it like on DVD in 2017 or early 2018. I watched that. That might have been the last time I saw it in full, if not since I saw it in the theater. Like,
I haven't seen it in a while.
I don't even
remember nothing.
I have no strong love or hatred for that film. I'm just kind of over here like, oh my God, enough. We can take a second to breathe with it.
Yeah, it's just whenever people are like, hey, remember how bad The Last Jedi was? I'm like, no, because I don't remember anything from that movie.
Right. Well, I remember stuff, but not because like I love every second of the movie. I remember some stuff because people just won't shut up about it. And it's like,
there are things I like in it. It's I like the scene with Luke and R2, and I like the ending with Luke. That was pretty cool. The Yoda, the Yoda scene, I like that.
It's so weird sometimes when people just bring it up out of nowhere for their points of criticism. Like, I watched this recently. I watched this video called like Why Ironheart Sucks, an MCU comparison. It was basically a critique of like
the show wasn't out yet, though.
No. Ironheart in Wakanda Forever. The characterization there. I will give credit to the video. It wasn't as bad as I was expecting. It had some okay points in there about like the way the movie presents some stuff. And it also made a good point about like something missing from her equipment in her Mark I suit, where I was like, wait a minute, that's right. Well, why the fuck would she not have that on there? But like an oxygen mask for like going up high levels. Weird. That's weird. But one thing, but then out of nowhere in the video, two things that annoyed me. One, they were like, this is when they were talking about, there's a part in the movie where she like takes out a drone and then she doesn't like, stop the drone from like hitting these this blockade of police cars that are trying to stop them, which by the way, they showed the police running away. So they wanted to make a point of that with the visuals, that like, even if the thing crashed into the cars, the police ran out of the picture. So they might not have all been like hurt or killed or anything. I'm not saying it makes it good that obviously Riri didn't try to protect them, but you know, they were being pursued. They were on a time crunch, and you're gonna make some tough decisions in the heat of battle. But when they were bringing that up, at one point they mentioned like the Dawn's deleted scene from Captain Marvel, and I was just like, oh my god, it's a deleted scene. I literally had like a Pavlovian reaction, like
The
it was a
Dawn?
deleted. Oh, you don't know about the okay. So there's this deleted scene where from Captain Marvel where she's looking at a map. It's when she's like, you know, before she meets Nick Fury and stuff. She's looking at a map. This guy walks up and is like kind of like she's not in the mood to talk to him, even though he's just trying to be nice and chill. Like he's basically trying to flirt with her pretty much in like a typical hey, good looking sort of way, but nothing like
Yeah.
crazy. And basically, you know, he's talking with her. And he's like, people call me the Don or something. And then she like offers to shake his hand, but then she like, you know, uses her power a little bit to tighten around it. And it basically threatens him to like take his motorcycle. I agree in isolation. That scene is a problem. It's like, okay, that's a bit like cruel a decision to be making. Like that's completely unnecessary. But two things I have to say about it. A, at that point in the film, Carol's not exactly a hero anyway. So I don't see it as like this, like truly the worst thing ever. And B, what people need to realize, it's a deleted scene. It doesn't have an impact on the final film. Yes, the scene itself is not good, but as such, don't you think it was deleted for a reason? Like
Yeah,
it
I was
not
gonna
being
say
good
the
was
same thing.
so using that scene constantly against Captain Marvel as if that happened in the movies is like enough. It was funny for like a few months with EFAP and stuff, and it's like, okay, we're done with the
course
joke.
EFAP used
Yeah, but and look, I don't love Captain Marvel in the MCU. I've had like a very up and down opinion on her at utilization and stuff. It really varies movie to movie, but I think using that scene against her as like, oh, this definitively happened in the final cut of the movie is like, okay, enough. But sorry, I got really off track. But the point is, during that video, they randomly brought up like, I think like the character assassination of Luke Skywalker or something toward the end, and I was like, what the fuck did that have to do with anything? This is a video about Iron Man and Ironheart. Why? And they tried making this point about like how Ironheart disrespected Wakanda Forever, spat in the face of Iron Man's legacy and disrespected it by ripping off his stuff. It's like I'm not. No, it really didn't. I can't give a full scholarly essay about this stuff because I'm already writing one for school, but like not about this topic. But yeah. Point is, I'll just say this: I have seen Wakanda Forever at least 3 times now. I'm telling you now, there's nothing about what Riri does that disrespects Iron Man's legacy. If anything, there's stuff about it that people bitch about where I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Are we? Is that okay? But anyway, back to the video. I'm sorry, we're only 20 seconds in.
Back at Kenobi's canon-breaking events. No, this video is.
All right, I will add, Kenobi technically was a little canon breaking. So
I agree. I do.
If he goes into that, I will give him kudos. If it's about how Bail Organa was ruined, I will give him that.
All those things and more. Kennedy film continues to subvert the morals of George.
Did he just say Kennedy film?
Yes.
What? Oh, because
I thought Dave Filoni was in complete control, guys.
No, wait. No, it's just the way he said it. Like they're erasing George Lucas, but like,
okay,
they're not.
George Lucas to replace integrity with relativism, to supplant selflessness with selfishness, to portray evil as good. All damage done with a veneer of boldness, complexity, and representation.
Are they suggesting? Okay, are they suggesting that because the main protagonist of The Acolyte ended up becoming a bad guy, are they suggesting that that means the show is encouraging being an evil person just by depicting it?
Literally, the show before this, or live action at least, the live action show before this had 3 fucking Jedi. Ahsoka Tano, Sabine Wren, and Ezra Bridger.
And they were trying to stop Imperial remnants in the form of Thrawn and a villainous Night Sister. And
they were Ahsoka, Sabine, and Ezra are undeniable good guys. Like they're the 3. Yeah. Some would argue the goodest good guys in the franchise. I mean,
Ezra especially. After his development in Rebels, and like it's just. I really hate this like I find that so fucking stupid, this idea that like, oh, Acolyte depicted this main character as being like becoming a bad guy, and their revenge, and they tried to depict their revenge as justifying. Oh, that's the show is endorsing evil. It's like, what?
Let's look back at all the other bad guys. Darth Vader in Obi-Wan Kenobi burned his former teacher alive. He also killed a child in that show. He snapped a child's neck.
Jesus.
Yeah, that was pretty insane.
Oh yeah, that sounds really fucked. I don't even remember that.
In the scene where he's trying to lure Obi-Wan out, he starts like killing the civilians, and a kid runs out to protect his dad, and Vader just grabs him and snaps his neck.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was a little intense. I don't know if they had to do that. It felt a little like, this ain't your dad's Darth Vader, but it felt like something Vader would do.
Those kinds of things did feel. I'm not saying it's impossible for Vader to do those things, but the execution of it did feel off in Kenobi, and I've seen that point made about like Vader's,
because it felt like something Vader would do. Like Vader's very petty. Like I was okay with him doing something like that, but
which I think now we have to make the disclaimer of, just because we're okay with a fictional character doing it, that doesn't mean we want people to go out choking children.
Obviously.
Because apparently some people need to be told that.
So I don't understand that whole, they're trying to make the bad guys look like good, like, because the Jedi are still, like, literally in the new show Skeleton Crew, Wim looks up to the Jedi and they're like, great.
Yes.
He thinks they're perfect. And obviously he's going to have to learn that they weren't all perfect, but I'm sure Jod, who is an undeniable Force user, is going to learn to be a good guy. I'd be shocked if Jod didn't get it.
Even when the Jedi weren't perfect, they were still working with good intentions. And yes, I know good intentions aren't everything, but still, like, that's important. Intent is important as a consideration in a lot of this stuff when it comes to these kinds of characters and orders. So it's like, it's not like the Jedi, like, it's not like they established a character like Mace Windu as like, oh, being this perfectly, like, this noble, great person with a noble cause, and then just, like, I don't know, say have him blow up a building of people just doing their jobs, Carly Morgenthau from Falcon and the Winter Soldier or something. Like, it's, you don't see that kind of stuff going on all the time with Star Wars. At least, maybe, I don't know, whatever.
I like it when Star Wars does get morally ambiguous, but I'm not gonna, like, when I look at someone like Osha in The Acolyte, I'm not gonna say that Osha was a good person. She was justified to be angry with Soul, but that doesn't deny the fact that she took someone's life. She killed someone. And I don't think the show is trying to suggest that Osha was doing the right thing. I think anyone who says that the show is trying to justify Osha killing Soul, I think they're crazy. I think that Acolyte had a lot of issues with trying to both sides the argument of, well, was Soul doing the right thing? Were the witches doing the right thing?
That, in hindsight, that whole resolution I was very mixed on. Like, that felt very...
I felt like it was neither of their faults, because it felt like it was just a misunderstanding. Like, Soul killed someone on accident, essentially, and then the witches unhinged. But from there, like, the witches were really, like, overly savage, but from their perspective, it felt warranted because Soul did kill someone. But then when you go back to Soul, he was just afraid because he thought something bad was going to happen. He wasn't doing it to be malicious. He was just like, uh-oh, something bad's going to happen, and he stabbed the witch. Like, it was just...
Yeah.
It was communication on everyone's part.
Right. But, and also, while we're on this point of, like, you know, promoting, like, good stuff and villainy and this and that, can we talk about how two of the most recently, like, liked and enjoyed comic book shows are The Penguin, a great show about a terrible person who does really bad things, but it's like a fantastic DC show. And then at least now, I know not everybody feels this way,
Agatha, but I'm gonna log off.
Well, on that
note, I'm kidding. I just didn't watch Agatha, so I don't know. I don't know if Agatha.
I will say, having seen it, some people are probably going to disagree. That's fine. I fucking loved Agatha all along. It's probably my favorite of the Disney Plus Marvel shows. I liked it from beginning to end. And
I haven't seen it yet.
And the nice thing is that, without spoiling anything, Agatha is not like redeemed by the end of the show, or she's not like some, perfect little angel who wants to do purely heroic stuff right now or is completely unselfish. No, they make it clear. She's a selfish bitch and a murderer and a psychopath. And the entire inception of the show is like her like going after a selfish purpose and intention. And you see just how like cowardly and pathetic she is at times. It's not to the Penguin levels, obviously.
Plaza, how bad could she be?
Right. Well, yeah. And even honestly, that's the thing. Agatha makes Aubrey Aubrey's character in the show look better by comparison, which she kind of is. So, like, that's still a show about a villain, about a bitchy character, and people that did watch it, that did bother to watch it after the first few episodes, mostly liked it. So in that case,
if this guy saw the Penguin, do you think he'd be saying like they're trying to make mob bosses look good because the Penguin's the main character?
I think
being the main character doesn't mean that they're a good guy.
Yes, the protagonist isn't always the good guy. So listen, I understand Acolyte has problems. I don't love all the character stuff in it. I got issues with it. But I'm sick of people floating around this fucking like statement like the Acolyte was encouraging the Sith are the good guys. It really wasn't, but okay, sure.
The Acolyte's encouraging the good guys in the same show where Daphne Keene got like hole punched.
Yeah, like, it's saying the Sith are it's saying the Sith are good guys after that shit, that whole forest fight with the Stranger. Like, seriously.
The Stranger is undeniably the bad guy. He made some good points. Doesn't mean that he's a good person.
Yeah, he's totally a good guy.
Making a good point does not make you a good person. Same way making a bad point doesn't mean you're a bad guy.
Right. The Stranger's totally a good guy, guys. He literally he shanked a child with a lightsaber and then said, was that its name? When someone was like depressed about them being dead, like, what the fuck?
That was undeniably like a bad thing. I don't think the show was ever trying to say that Chimere is justified. He wasn't.
Absolutely not. The dude was totally not justified.
He was selfish. He wanted to use his power in a way only he could, which is fine. You're allowed to do that, but the way he went about it was incorrect. That was what the show was trying to say. The same way that the witches wanted to use their power independent of the Jedi, and that was also justified, but then the Jedi were trying to tell them how they could use their power. It was the contrast. The witches weren't hurting anyone. Chimere was. That's one thing I did like about the show. But all right, let's continue.
Yeah.
As if George's films lacked those qualities and appealed only to a niche. The unholy alliance of Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy has reduced Star Wars to an unrecognizable husk. Next, I have 10 decisions for Disney-era films and streaming series to illustrate the corruption of George's vision.
The corruption.
Welcome to Galactic Initiative. I'm your host, Jeff, and I believe Kennedy...
Your name, Jeff?
You beat me by 1 second, goddammit.
The minute I heard
of course, the nanosecond it enters my brain, I'm like, fuck. No.
We're very mature. I like how it's like we're like poking fun at this guy for being immature, and it's like we're
over here making fucking my name, Jeff.
We're quoting Channing Tatum. It's like we're the mature ones.
We're quoting fucking 21 and 22 Jump Street, a film franchise with the quote, "Yo, he's fucking the captain's daughter." Like, Jesus.
Ooh, he's about to make a name for himself here. But no. By the way, I did make 10 predictions for what I think his points are going to be.
Okay. Yes.
I did change them because Kevin and I did talk about it before, but I changed a couple. I said lightsabers not being able to kill. Anyone can use them. Which by the way, I do agree with that. I do think that is dumb.
I agree. The whole lightsaber, like, I'm not gonna lie. I've been fucked. I was so, when that Acolyte lightsaber fight came in, dude, it was such a breath of fresh air to see the lightsabers, like, it sounds sadistic, but to see them, like, stabbing people and cutting shit
That's a
off,
normal,
I was like,
normal thing. That's a normal reaction.
yeah, I was like, thank fucking God. Because I won't lie, I ever since, like, I don't know what it is, but like like there were parts in Ahsoka where the lightsabers hit certain like troopers or something. And I was like, what the fuck was that? That was barely even a cut. Like how I know you're probably overworking your VFX artists already, but like, come on, let's seriously. So I do agree. There's flaws with the lightsaber shit, 100%. So if he makes that point, I can understand.
I'll give him kudos for that. Anyone using the Force, i.e., Sabine being a Jedi.
I'm not against Sabine being a Jedi. I just didn't like the idea that they tried to build up this connection between her and Ahsoka that just wasn't there.
That was funny because it was like they never even talked once during Rebels. But like, I'm okay with it because I never really liked Sabine. So I was like, this is new. This is something new. This is like a clean slate for me. So like I was totally on board with it, and I actually really like Sabine.
As someone who does like Sabine, I was perfectly fine with the idea of her. I didn't know how to feel about her wielding the Force, but I felt that was like, I'm mixed on it. But her becoming a Jedi, I have no problem with, like, her wielding a green lightsaber. Like, that sounds cool. I wanted to see something like that.
Like, I didn't like it at first, but I liked that the first time she uses the Force, it's to save herself. Because so many, like, people were saying, like, oh, it didn't make sense. It should have been, like, her trying to save Ezra because the Force is about helping others. I liked it was about her saving herself because the whole point of the show is like, why did Sabine want to be a Jedi? They never explain how, and you find out that it's because she wanted to save her family on Mandalore, and she was using it for the wrong reason. And I like that she uses it to save herself because it's essentially, before you want to help others, you have to learn about what you want first, and you have to help yourself.
I have to say, I think that actually ties nicely back, that idea at least, to, because one of my favorite parts in all of Rebels is the Darksaber training stuff. That's one of my favorite episodes in the whole show. I love that confrontation between her and Kanan. And looking back, the only way she was able to really wield the Darksaber properly and master it was breaking herself down and venting and like expressing her emotional disoriented. And maybe the animation wasn't always perfect at expressing everything, but the music, the intensity in the acting, and most of the directing was like pretty perfect for what they were going for there. So like, yeah, I understand. Don't get me wrong. Sabine using the Force, I'm still mixed on it, but her becoming a Jedi, I don't mind. So if he brings up that point, I can understand where he's coming from, but I don't really 100% agree or disagree either way, if that makes sense. If we're mainly referring to Sabine.
Yeah, like, mine is also Luke being sad, the Holdo maneuver, Project Necromancer.
I'm just fucking sick of those 2 points.
If he brings up something from Last Jedi, we're just skipping that segment.
Please, like, I don't even have anything to say about those. I'm just like, yep, heard it before, skip, I'm done.
Ahsoka being alive, Osha undermining Anakin, the Jedi being bad.
Which I don't agree with. If he brings that up, I don't agree with it. We'll get to that if that happens.
What? Osha, you agree with the point, or you don't?
No. If I don't agree with the idea that Osha undermines Anakin.
Oh, no,
I don't agree with it. I don't agree with that at all. We'll get to it if it comes up.
And I just put Rey, full stop.
Yeah. It's just Rey.
Rey. I put Rey / Reva.
Right.
But yeah,
I just got that. Yeah, Reva in there as well. Fuck it.
Kennedy film has forsaken Star Wars guiding principles. If you agree, I hope you find truth in my list. Let's begin.
If you wait. If you agree, I hope you find truth in my list. Don't you mean if you disagree? I hope you find.
No, I like how he's basically saying, if you agree, I hope you agree. Like, But, like, if you find
Wait,
truth in
what?
my list, like,
Wait a
if you
second.
find truth in my, you'll find truth in my list is basically just another way of saying like you like my thing. So it's basically if you agree with me, I hope you agree with me.
He could. I feel like he should have said like, if you disagree, just hear me out. But if you do agree with my points, I'm happy to give you some validation. Because even if that's a little like particular or biased, at least that makes sense. Like I don't.
I don't know. It didn't. That's just a whole lot of nothing burger.
Okay. All right. So first up, a saber for Sackhoff.
So I guess this is something to do with Bo-Katan.
I
By the way,
guess.
first off, go fuck yourself, because Katie Sackhoff is a queen. Don't ever attack my girl Katie Sackhoff. I met her twice, and she is actually, well, technically 3 times. I saw her at Rhode Island, but I didn't go up to see. I was with my friend Miles, and we were online for Ivana Sakno, and Katie was right next to her. So Miles ran right up to Katie, and because Katie was like right about to leave because her line capped and she was going.
Oh my gosh!
Miles just ran up to her and was like, "Katie, congratulations on your second child." And Katie was like, "Oh my god, thank you." And she hugged Miles, and then they talked for a little bit. It was so wholesome because I was getting the payment for Ivana ready for the autograph, and I was just watching like Miles like having like a conversation with. It was so wholesome. But I swear to God, if he's gonna bash Katie Sackhoff, I'm gonna lose it.
Everyone familiar with Kennedy Films' messaging expected Bo-Katan, played by Katie Sackhoff, to reacquire the Darksaber.
Okay.
Yeah,
so this is just, it's woke that Bo-Katan, but it made perfect sense in the context, because
she was literally gifted the Darksaber by a member of the House of Ren, and then when it was stolen, she wanted it back. That's how it's been since fucking Rebels. Like, it
makes sense. Bo-Katan is literally the heiress. That's what she's called. Why wouldn't? Okay, here's the thing. I get that people. I agree with the concept that Bo should have reacquired it differently. I'm okay with it. I feel like maybe Bo should have one thing I would have liked is if Din just said, "If I'm the new leader of Mandalore, then I propose a new law that I have Bo-Katan lead alongside me, because she's my friend and I trust her." And it's like a cool moment where it's like they both hold the Darksaber together or something. Like, and then if you want Bo to have a sword fight at the end, maybe in episode 7 when Din gets captured, Gideon takes the Darksaber back. And then when Bo swoops in to save the day and help Din, and she's like, "Go save your kid," and Din runs off to fight the Praetorians, there's just a scene where Gideon dropped the Darksaber and Bo grabs it, and then she can have her sword fight.
Yeah,
like, that's fine. Like, I changed it a little bit, but the overall story is still the same. Bo, Bo's redemption arc is literally the heart of the show.
She literally
disagree with how Din was treated.
She literally served for years in the Clone Wars under a member of House Vizsla, Vizsla as in Ta Vizsla, the guy who made the fucking Darksaber. Then it was granted to her to lead the people of Mandalore by Sabine Wren, like a person who ended up rightfully getting it back from Darth Maul, who stole it and murdered said member of House of Vizsla.
Technically, he did get it fairly, but it was in a very backhanded manner.
Oh, yeah, and he wasn't Mandalorian anyway, so you can make arguments about heritage and all that. And then, I know Mandalorian made up this whole thing about, like, well, if you don't win the Darksaber this way, it spells disaster and conflict and under Bo-Katan's rule, which I wasn't a fan of or whatever. But, like, and I'm not saying it was like a thing or curse they made real. I was just like, okay, I get what the show's implying. I'm not a fan of it. But
I liked it. I just didn't like that. For me, it all came down to how Bo got it back, and it didn't really work for me. But I liked what it meant for Bo as a character, where basically Din's giving it to her out of an act of friendship. Like, when they first meet, when Din gets the Darksaber, the first thing he wants to do is just give it up to Bo. He's like, "I yield. I don't know." And now when he's giving it to her, he's doing it out of friendship. Like, it's meant to show Din's growth. And I like that. And that's kind of why I give it a pass, because people say it kind of ruined it, and like I don't love it, but there are things about it I do like. And I like how in episode 2, when Bo uses it to rescue Din, she doesn't even think about the fact that she won it through that technicality, because like her priority was saving her friend. And
Right.
she
But
wanted
yeah,
to win. That's what I that's why I like Bo so much, is because she talks such a big game about wanting to rule Mandalore again. But when it
Mhm.
comes down to it, her priority is her friends, and I just think that's a really cool character moment for her.
I like that idea too. But what I take issue with this guy, the way he says it, it's like anybody familiar with Kathleen Kennedy's like agendas or this or that knows that Bo-Katan was going to get the Darksaber.
Of
You mean
course, the female character was going to be the one.
Yeah. What? Oh, yeah. The female character that got it through shit that made sense in pre-established material, where the character was actually from. Like, yeah, no shit that she was going to try to get it back.
Sense for Bo. She's the one that's actually qualified. She's the one who it's been built up to for years.
But if Din got it, he would still complain because it's Pedro Pascal, and Pedro Pascal's too woke as well. So like,
Pedro Pascal isn't white.
That too, yeah, probably. I don't know.
Well, no, and I forgot that Pedro Pascal is liberal. So like,
yeah, he also actually believes in some decent shit that people have been convinced is not okay, and it's like, ugh. I love Pedro Pascal.
We need more straight white male conservative representation in our media.
Yeah, well, remember Frack, truly an icon in Kenobi.
Frack. I liked Frack.
I liked him. One
of my favorite memes of Frack is just a picture of him with the fucking MAGA hat photoshopped over him.
Please tell me, please, you know that meme people have shared of like the Trump supporters or the MAGA supporters where they all look the same in the PFPs. Please tell me somebody's made a version of that where in the bottom right corner is just fragging one of the little PFP circles. That'd be really funny to me for some reason.
Nothing wrong with the little order. I loved Frack so much for all of Kenobi's issues. I legitimately loved Frack.
He was fun.
He was really funny. And I like how he was actually like a good guy. He was just like a giant Trump supporter.
Yeah, I liked that.
He was nice, but it's like, doesn't deny the fact that you support a fascist regime, dude.
Right. Yeah.
By the way, Republicans, this is a joke. I didn't mean to cyberbully you. Sorry.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's just a joke. Remember
it's just a prank, bro. It's just a prank.
Yeah, it's just a prank, bro. I can't do the filthy Frank voice right now. That's my filthy Frank
impression.
Oh, I love his prank video, dude. There's a part of Filthy Frank's prank video. He walks up to this girl just sitting at a table, like drawing, not a little kid, but just like a woman. He walks up to this woman sitting at a table and he's like, are you in art school? And she like mentions she's in art school. And he just goes on this thing where he's like, what a fucking waste of time. And then by the time you even pay off your debt, you're going to be fucking senile. And then he just ends like,
video. That's great.
And then he's just like, boom, got him, roasted. This is just a prank,
I
bro.
love the one with like the life hack video where he's with the ravioli. And
yes! Having trouble reaching the TV remote? We'll just contact the demons of Selzar. And he just like puts blood on his face.
Yeah, he like uses the force.
Yes, he uses the force with the reversed audio.
Wait, let's see. Let's see what else he has to say about my girl Bo-Katan.
However, the stupid anticlimax of Din Djarin simply handing it to her with the reasoning of a preschooler was ridiculous even by Disney standards. The Darksaber has always been problematic for its violent, archaic rites of challenge like the path of succession in Wakanda. For civilization to supersede barbarism, the criteria for selecting leaders must shift away from brawn in favor of brains. That said, if the code is combat, let there be combat. The ambusher of my ambusher is champion nonsense left no one satisfied. Either take the Darksaber from Din.
Okay, I think I get what he's trying to say. He's saying, yes, it's better. Yes, there are like the issue. Trial by combat itself is a problematic mindset to have, but if a society has a trial by combat system, you would expect trial by combat to be something related to this weapon that in the past has been.
Yes, but
I
it's
think
just like, oh,
I
it
think-
should have been over brains, but Din gave it to Bo because she was more qualified.
But that's
like-
my. I do agree. Like, it is a little frustrating that yes, they built up this big thing about like you have to win the Darksaber to get it. You have to win it in a fight and this and that, only for it to be that. I could understand the frustration there, but like, I don't. And to be fair, I say that, but again, in Rebels, Sabine didn't really win it in a fight with Maul. She just took it from his lair. So like, I guess I guess it's not perfect either way. I
don't know, because it's like he's like, oh, it's they're prioritizing brawn over brain, and then I'm like, okay, but in the scene that you're showing, Din gave it to her through a loophole because he wanted her to have it.
I get what he's trying to say. I get what he's trying to say. If I get what he's trying to say, if you set up a society of trial by combat people, let there be combat, and it's weird that they abandoned that after making a big deal about winning the Darksaber. I understand what he's trying to get across. I don't know. To say this is like one of those things that spits in the face of Lucas's vision. It's like, was the trial by combat of Mandalore thing really that important to what Lucas wanted? Wasn't most of this Mandalorian shit Filoni's invention anyway in Clone Wars? Like,
yeah, so it's
I
like,
wouldn't know for sure,
issue?
but yeah. So I understand what he's trying to say. It feels weird to include in a video about stuff that goes against what Lucas wanted and Lucas's vision for the franchise. It's like, why would he care? Why would he care
Lucas
if they
is the one who created the Darksaber, but he did it through a technicality. He did it because he was
really?
Basically the Darksaber was going to just be a vibro sword, but he said he was worried because he didn't know at that point. He didn't really know what could parry a lightsaber, so he's
he didn't want to put up with. He didn't want to put up with people talking about like what could be cut and what couldn't, pretty much.
Not like backlash. He just didn't know like the repercussions of the lore. So he said just make another lightsaber, make it black, it's fine. That's how the Darksaber came to be through basically just a loophole.
Basically a loophole saying like, just make an old dark black lightsaber, make it look weird. We'll go over it later.
Yeah. And then he accidentally created a ton of lore. So I like it every time there's a lightsaber like with lore, it's because it was created through an accident via George Lucas.
Yeah, same like with fucking Mace, like with Mace Windu's being.
Yeah, I was thinking of Mace Windu.
But yeah, here's my thing as well. Even if that was something that Lucas baked into the text, I genuinely don't think Lucas would be that offended at the idea that a trial by combat society would evolve its methods. Like, I don't think he'd be all fucking up in arms about that. Again, I understand the point he's trying to make, but the way he's framing it as a way of like disrespecting George Lucas's vision, it's really not. It's just not. If anything, it's the issue here is just poor writing from Mando season 3. Nothing to do with disrespecting Lucas, if you ask me.
It's
and declare an end to superstition or fight the man.
Okay.
Vice Admiral Holden.
Oh,
okay. All right. Fucking move on.
I'm just gonna skip this part. We're not.
Okay. All right. So there was a sectioning error. It looks like
they're no good to me. I swear to God, if he talks about Boba Fett being a nice guy, I'm actually gonna fucking lose it because I actually really like Boba Fett's arc. So this will
be interesting.
Period.
Look, I don't like Holdo either, but enough. I've heard about her.
Fuck you, dude. Boba Fett. Boba Fett.
I love how out of context, if somebody hopped into the stream right after you said, like, if this is about Boba Fett, but they didn't hear that part, they could just take that fuck you as either me saying, like, I don't like Holdo either, but I'm sick of it. Anyway, yeah, listen.
By the way, this is so dumb. Because here's the thing, I would agree, Boba Fett's arc could have been done a little bit better. The overall blueprints of it are very good. Boba
Yeah,
Fett.
I think conceptually I don't mind what Book of Boba Fett was going for. I just don't like the final execution a ton.
Yeah.
Like it's
Like that's not the argument. The argument is going to be Boba Fett was emasculated, and you can't have any cool male characters anymore. Even though Boba Fett rode a fucking Rancor, which is like the manliest thing ever.
yeah, like and was considered like he was fucking regardless of if the writing was good or not, which honestly I don't give a shit about the writing anymore being good or not with Star Wars, because to everybody who dislikes Disney Star Wars, everything that isn't Andor, maybe the Jedi games, if you bother to play them, is just the worst written thing that kills canon and ever. And it's like it's like that Batman Beyond clip of like, you destroyed the Star Wars canon. Do you have the slightest idea how little that narrows things down?
Is it Dr. Phosphorus or Blight?
No, it is Blight. Yes, they're very similar character designs, especially with creature commandos now. So that's
I still have to watch that. I'm very excited.
I've seen the first episode. I've not seen the second two. The first one's good. It's very funny.
Nice. All right, let's see what he has to say about my boy Tamir Morrison.
Yeah, and I do have a point to make about Boba that I did find interesting from another video, but I'll wait to see what he says.
Okay.
The titular character terrorized his adopted hometown, Mos Espa. His challenge to the Pike Syndicate was a street battle that leveled an entire district. Kennedy Films' milquetoast version of the fearsome bounty hunter campaigned to win the hearts of Mos Espa's inhabitants after he was scolded for his privilege. The scooter rocker who delivered the tongue lashing also influenced Fett's battle plan by ridiculing his suddenly gubernatorial and philanthropic nature. Rather than draw the Pikes away from town to save lives and property, he chose to barricade an intersection.
Okay,
They literally explain in the show why it was a good idea to do that, though, because he didn't want to leave the civilians. Because they say that if he does back down at the palace, they're just going to lure him back out into the city.
To an extent, I think, yeah, I see both perspectives. I do agree. Yes, it was technically speaking. Now, I will say, with that in mind, I do think Boba should have at least tried to evacuate civilians, or did he? I don't remember the show like that much at all.
He did not have. I've watched the finale a lot of times. I basically studied the show. He did not.
So from this perspective,
Tatooine is fucking big. Mos Espa especially, I do not think it is possible to evacuate that city in the time that it takes. Like, it would not be possible. That's like trying to evacuate New York City in like a couple hours. It's not possible. Like, it's basically they're saying Boba Fett. Also, by the way, thank you again for ridiculing Sophie Thatcher. That's great. I love Sophie Thatcher, but she's a great actress. But my biggest issue against Boba Fett was tricking me into thinking that Sophie Thatcher was British. Because I actually thought for the longest time that she was British, but was putting on an American accent and everything else she was in, whereas it was the other way around. She's actually American, and in Yellow Jackets, and in Heretic, and in The Boogeyman, she's using her normal American accent. But in Book of Boba Fett, she's British for some reason, which I don't know. I don't know why. But
yeah,
I guess the mods were supposed to be like British, but I guess they just decide on a whim like, this character is going to be British. Because when I interviewed Marty Matulis the other day, he said that obviously Marty. By the way, they did the same thing with me. I thought Marty Matulis was British before I saw him in interviews and stuff. He has a normal American accent. He said that when he was doing the costume fitting, and it was for a during the audition, they just said go British. Like Bane was like a very like gung ho, like pirate. I'm gonna split your circuits.
Hondo in it.
Yeah, exactly. And he said he actually he channeled Russell Brand. That was his way of doing it. And then he said,
oh god, Russell Brand.
He said no. He said literally, he's like I was watching Russell Brand. He's like that was my way of channeling it. And he said I tried not to go totally Jack Sparrow with Vane the pirate, and
Mm.
so I guess with
I mean, to be fair, if you're playing an asshole pirate, Russell Brand's a pretty good asshole to draw inspiration.
but I guess with Sophie, they just said the same thing. Like, you're very posh, you're very British, you're like a punk girl, like cyborg lady, and they did that. But but here's the thing. I don't like the mods that much. I like Drash. Drash is pretty cool.
I was not big on the mods either. I was just kind of like, these are characters that exist, and I just don't care that much about them. But for whatever reason, Twitter decided one of them doing a spin move was the dumbest thing ever. And I'm just like...
It's funny because when you look at their characters, they're like the most average Star Wars characters. They're just normal people.
Right. Like,
they don't have any weird lines. They don't say anything, like, off the wall.
The biggest line that stuck out to me from any of them was just the one guy saying how much he values his robot eye, and that's literally it. Like, that's which I'm not being insulting by it. Like, I'm just saying, like, that's my point, is that's the only thing I remember really about the mods. Is just also, like, back to what I was saying a second ago, like, again, Twitter loved acting like that dude's spin move was the death of everything. For a second, and I was like,
I thought it was cute that it looked like he was having fun. That's really, yeah.
When I saw that stuff, I was like, first off, these people better never watch Power Rangers. They'll want to kill themselves seeing some of the moves they do in that show. Second off, guys, this is the show that unceremoniously kills Cad Bane after he and Boba have no established backstory outside of deleted Clone Wars episodes. And you're telling me a spin move is the dumbest thing about Book of Boba Fett? Okay, sure.
Yeah.
They killed Cad Bane after giving him a genuinely cool introduction and then building up a rivalry between him and Boba that literally has no impact if you have not seen the Clone Wars deleted scenes that said he was going to shoot him as a kid. But whatever. Yeah, the spin move. That's the death of sin. No, oh, you got to do...
So honestly, though... Whenever I fill in the lore in my head, the line, don't toy with me, I'm not a little boy any longer, is still so fucking cool to me. In an alternate universe where they actually explained their relationship, that line would have been so cool.
Yeah, I wish we got at least just like you tried to do in that rewrite you tried that never got made. I like that you added a scene of backstory. I didn't read the full script, but I like that you at least added a scene of a flashback between them, because that's something.
I added 3. I added I basically did like one in the beginning, one in the middle of the episode, and then one at the end.
Right.
And I just like the way you said it. You said, you know, for that rewrite, you know, the one that never got made. I just thought it was funny. That made me laugh. But you know, Boba. Let's see what else he has to say about my boy Boba.
Yeah, so I understand his point. Like, it is a bad look to bring a fight right to a populated city area. But if that is a good point, if the Pike Syndicate would just threaten people to bring Boba out anyway, it's like there's a risk either
take place at the city.
There's a risk either way, and besides, it's Mos Espa. It's a hive of like a lot of scum and villainy. Even if there are good people, it's like you got to be a little bit of an asshole to survive on this planet. Clearly.
Also, they say he leveled a district when
he really didn't.
He blew up one building, and it's fine. They'll rebuild it. Boba's fucking rich. He's stacked. He has the Hutt's bank.
Right.
Plus, he can also just rebuild it. It's a building. It's fine. I'm pretty sure the Avengers made way worse out of New York in the first Avengers.
Yeah, and the Avengers didn't bring the fight to the cities most of the time, so it's like or they were forced to go into the city fights and whatnot.
Honestly, my issue is more so Boba not really having a connection with the civilians. He did have mods and Mos Pelgo, which was good, but that's not his argument here. His argument is he doesn't care about the civilians, which is not true because he saved their lives. And no one died from what we saw. He did not kill anyone.
Yeah, not anybody that wasn't a Pike.
The only people who died were the Pikes, Cad Bane, the robots, and I think some of the mods and the Mos Pelgo civilians, but those were people who were soldiers on the line.
Right.
They knew the risks. and they gave their
Any-
lives. It wasn't a bystander. By the way,
Right,
that's not me trying to dismiss them. I'm just saying, like,
yeah,
it
no,
wasn't
I agree. There is
people were
this
killed.
there is this degree to, like, if you get in a gunfight, obviously it's sad if people die, but if you sign up for the fight as a soldier, you should have some sense of risk going in.
Yeah.
Like,
they
it
knew what the risk was, and like they're not to be blamed for no one's really to blame other than obviously the Pikes for
right.
like who killed them.
So yeah, again, I understand the point he's trying to make here as a criticism. Again, it's the same thing with the first point. I understand what he's trying to say, and I totally get where it comes from. Even if I don't fully agree, I can at least get where it comes from, which is more than I can say for some points I've seen made against Disney Star Wars. But again, this is a video about how, like, in the broad scheme of things, George Lucas and everything he stood for or tried with his vision was disrespected. And I'm just like, why this specifically? This feels like a very, this doesn't feel like and if it would be one thing if it was like a symptom of a larger problem. What other fights in Star Wars have innocent people getting killed because of the actions of like a leader who's presented as a hero? Like,
I mean, the Purge of Mandalore, but that's
this
but
feels
that was like the focal point of Mandalore's story, so it's fine.
This feels like a really weird point to make against like the legacy of George Lucas and this and that.
Which is funny because I'm pretty sure George has killed more innocent civilians.
Not to mention, like, if we're talking about if the point here is war crime bad, let me tell you about Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
I'm pretty sure Anakin has killed more people than Boba Fett did in this one episode.
Right, exactly. Like, it's anyway. Yeah,
Anakin
I don't
fucking like roundhouse kicked Poggle the Lesser in his cell.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
I'm just stuttering at this point. I get where he's coming from, but
okay.
in this video, this is a weird point to make, I'd say.
Everyone and everything nearby. To make matters worse, Fett lost control of his pet Rancor. In the end, Mos Espians irrationally celebrated the consequences of Fett's stupidity.
I mean, that's also
hot.
Oh boy, here we go.
Wait,
we're gonna skip this too. This is about Han abandoning his family, which again is, I feel like that's completely invalid. Like, I don't even want to touch it. Like, every sequel trilogy argument, I don't
blame you. Pretty much every sequel trilogy, like, I'm gonna be blunt. If you watch one 20 to 30-minute video talking about the broad issues of the sequel trilogy, you've seen at least like a third of all of them just by watching one of them, because most of the time it's stuff that people like Mahler have already said. And I don't mean that as an insult per se, or like that any of their points are invalid.
Well, no, I hope you meant it as an insult to Mahler. Fuck Mahler, dude.
Oh, yeah, I don't like Mahler, but I'm just saying in general, like, when I say that, I don't mean that as an insult to the people who just dislike the sequels or have these points, but most of the time it's like, this isn't anything new or interesting. And look, I've made points in my video essays that are not new or groundbreaking. Like, my first video was basically just being like, T'Challa's arc in Civil War isn't groundbreaking, but it good. Like, wow, I really brought something new to the table there. But that was my first video essay where I actually tried to give a shit about how it was edited and recorded and have an avatar for once. So it was just a test run. I wasn't trying to break any new ground, really.
Also, I just really hate this stupid argument with Han, because it's like, Han abandoned his family, and it was like, yeah, but he came back. Like, it was...
Yeah, and we don't, like...
He came back, and he died literally wanting to help his son. And arguably, his sacrifice was made out of selflessness for Ben Solo, because I always interpreted it as Ben saying, I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it, and Han realizing the only way for Ben to be whole again is if he dies, because, like, that sacrifice will have him fully succumb to the dark side, and Han's like, my son will be evil, but he won't be in pain anymore, and I'm gonna sacrifice myself. So I always liked that implication that Han basically killed himself because he knew it would let Ben be at peace, even if it did mean him going to the dark side. And obviously,
Interesting.
the opposite happened. Ben became even more conflicted, but it did end up leading him down the right path at the end, even if it did take a year. And Ben ended up becoming a Jedi. And as much as I despise Rise of Skywalker, Ben's turn to the light side was fully revolved around his mother and his father. That was the reason he turned, because he loved Han Solo and he loved Leia. Like, they were his only reason to turn, aside from he wanted to help Rey because he loved Rey. Like, Han was his entire motivation. How was that ruined? How does that mean that Han Solo was ruined? Han Solo was what Han Solo's memory is what saved the galaxy. Like, that's huge. I don't understand why people are like, oh, it's bad because Han was sad. Like, it's just so dumb. And I really don't want to watch it.
Yeah, even if I don't 100% agree with everything said there, like I'm just kind of like you. I'm just tired of hearing a lot of these points. Like, Hero is sad and old. Look, I'm tired of that trope too. But like, if you're not going to say it in a new, interesting way, I'm maybe some people love that shit. Whatever. I just don't. I'm done hearing. It's like a lot of the same stuff with The Last Jedi. It's like the Holdo maneuver. I don't care anymore. I've heard that a million times. Snoke dying was a good idea in theory, but the execution was lame. I've heard that 1,000 times. Like, that's my problem with a lot of the sequel discourse. It's nothing I haven't heard before, and most of the time, it's just not interesting to me. Or it's the same.
At the beginning, he said, "Oh, this isn't going to be just the same points you've heard over and over again," and it's just the same points we've heard over and over again.
It's like when people say like the MCU is dead and they just say the same things, like new like plot holes and broken this character and assassinated everything. I'm like, you say that about almost every single project that comes out now. I can't be fucked to care.
Logan. Yeah,
they ruined Logan. They ruined Logan. I just they ruined.
Pause for a minute. I want to go back and see what his opening was about and how.
Section on that Star Wars 12 horrible years.
This comment about this isn't going to be the.
This video isn't another catalog of Kathleen Kennedy's poor stewardship. It isn't a celebration of the acolytes' reported extinction. It isn't an added shovel load of dirt on the last.
This is literally just what the whole video is.
But you literally discussed The Last Jedi back to back with Poe and Holdo.
You're not a child.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Who the fuck are you?
So stop wearing so many layers to go outside.
Ooh, hello, handsome.
Get the bearskin tactical.
He looked like Sebastian Stan for a second. What the fuck?
All right, so this is about how Kenobi was sad. Which, here's the thing: I don't like Kenobi that much, but I feel like
I don't like Kenobi either. But sorry, Sideswipe, if you somehow watch this, you're a goat. I don't love Kenobi either, but this feels like a weird point to me. Well, okay, I want to hear what
he being sad made total sense for his character.
I want to hear his point, because just a sad Kenobi out of context is like, okay, hold on, are you kidding me?
If he mentions Reva, I'm gonna jump out a window.
Okay, yeah, I'll join you.
In the Kennedy film tradition of character deconstruction, Obi-Wan Kenobi held a 10-year pity party for himself after Episode 3.
Because he was sad that his fucking brother died and he had to burn him alive. I feel like that's warranted.
And was on Tatooine watching Luke grow up for the sake of protecting him. Like, okay.
He had to... Okay, so you're mad Obi-Wan Kenobi was sad when he had to murder his friend and watch him burn alive, and also watch over his son, who is a living reminder of his failure. And you're mad that Obi-Wan is just a little depressed.
Also, the order he served literally got fucking annihilated. Most of his friends were murdered in cold blood by people he trusted, and he was almost shot dead by a clone commander he really respected, and lost his lizard goober in the process. So
I like how you had to mention the Boga. I'm actually gonna leave.
It's a classic Star Wars creature. I just
wait. I'm gonna leave a comment. Wait, I agree. I agree that Kenobi shouldn't. I can't fucking type. Shouldn't have been. I agree Kenobi shouldn't have been depressed. His whole family died, and he lost his friends, his brother, and his big lizard boy. And also has to watch over a child.
From a family that wants nothing to do with him
Yeah,
anymore, it seems.
but that's okay. I agree Kenobi shouldn't have been depressed. His whole family died and he lost his friends, his brother and his big lizard, and also has to watch over a child, a living reminder of his failures. But that's okay.
Oh god, people are gonna take that too seriously. Be prepared.
I honestly, I don't fucking care.
Jedi Master who once asserted, "I will do what I must," created a must-do list. 1.
I will do what I must, and then 5 minutes later, he's breaking down crying. You were my brother, Anakin. I loved you. I'm really upset right now, but I'm going to get over it immediately. Because I don't have PTSD, because that's not realistic. Like, did you expect Obi-Wan would not mourn or be depressed at all? What did you expect?
Right, like of all the other shit they could talk about with Kenobi, how it was clearly stretched out from what should have been a special presentation, how it
It's been a
like
Disney Plus movie, and you could
yeah,
have
it should have
shown
been
it
a
in
Disney
select
Plus
theaters.
movie. How it fucking like rips Kenobi off of Tatooine just for the sake of a one last ride thing, even though it feels like it doesn't make sense to do that with him at this point. And it's like
I'd be okay if he brings up the fact that Obi-Wan wasn't training when he probably should have been keeping up with, like, because the whole point was that
yeah,
like, Obi-Wan should be protecting Luke, and in doing so, I feel like the best way to protect Luke would be to keep up with, like, melee training and stuff.
right.
And also, your whole point was that you were going to train Luke. Wouldn't the best way to do that be to also be in tune with the Force? So, like, that's a good argument for, like, it doesn't make sense Obi-Wan would cut himself off, but
Yeah.
it's like you just saying Obi-Wan is sad. Like, yeah, it makes complete sense that he's sad. Do you think he got over it immediately? Like, no. Obi-Wan suffered so much. It makes perfect sense as to why he would be upset.
Mm.
Yeah,
I got nothing. I'm just
yeah.
Ignore the Force. 2. Work as a meat packer. 3. Stalk.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with being a meat packer?
I'll let him finish, but yeah,
The Lars
what's wrong
fan.
with that?
You're just tapping out. You're fully done.
I'm not like tapping out. I'm just I'm not tapping out. I'm just like dipping in and out of brain cell consciousness. I think like I'm kind of browsing Instagram a little as we watch because I'm just like
You're just mentally exhausted of hearing him speak.
not even really. I've heard worse voices discussing this shit. I'm just like I don't give a
Listen
fuck
to
about.
GI. He has a very nice speaking voice. I'll give him that.
Yeah, his speaking voice is good. I just don't agree with like a lot of it. Again,
What he says.
this feels like such a weird thing to bring up for the broad. Like this is a disrespect to what George Lucas wanted. I'm like, Obi-Wan was sad and living a mundane fucking life on Tatooine while watching Luke grow up after losing everything. Yeah, that sounds about right. Look, I don't think the show needed to exist either, but okay.
Yeah.
Let's just keep going. Let's
And
just get through
4.
this
Allow
chunk.
everyone to disrespect him. The absurdity of Obi-Wan Kenobi to open his D- series still angers me. 4 starring roles.
Okay,
and 2
okay.
cameos
I'll give credit.
imported.
The D- joke is kind of
The
funny.
Star
I got
Wars
it. I got to
films
laugh at that.
demonstrated the character's resilience. Obi-Wan overcame the darkest circumstances with humor and cunning. Why swap optimism with nihilism? Why
Because he
deconstruct
lost
and
his
support-
fucking brother and is in a state of grief and depression and needs to lie low.
I don't
Like,
understand why Obi-Wan became so sad. It's like he
Yeah, that's the
got
thing.
sad
He's
and
talking like
shouting at
he's
his limbs
he's
off.
talking like this is a Disney only invention. Like there's no shit that Lucas ever did that would have like put this in motion or made it a reasonable response. My brother in Jedi Christ, the fucking prequels were Lucas's baby, and they had him lose everything in Order 66 practically. Like acting like Kenobi can't be sad.
Also, it's
is
funny where
just-
he's like Obi-Wan isn't Obi-Wan's optimistic, and it's like, yeah, he also made jokes in the show too. Like,
I'm an optimist, and I have nights where I go to bed sad or tired or frustrated because I just had a bad day or a dull day. I
I think
still
we
have
all have.
optimism. I just need to be fucking pissed. Like, we're not always happy.
also Obi-Wan definitely told jokes in his show. Like, I like the scene with Leia, like where she says, where she's like, "Oh, you think the less you say, the less you give away, but it's the opposite." And he goes, "How old are you?" And she goes, 10. He goes, "You don't sound like you're 10." Like, Obi-Wan is like cheeky. He's telling his jokes. He's being a lame uncle. Like, and like the scene with at the end where he's like, "Oh, what do you think I should do now?" And Leia's like, "I think you should sleep." And he just loses it and starts laughing. Like, it's like the most genuine Obi-Wan laugh ever. Like, Obi-Wan has his jokes. Also, not to mention like the speech he gives to Leia at the end, which is like the most wholesome Obi-Wan moment ever. And even though I don't like the show, I can still acknowledge that that's a really good moment for his character. Like, you're saying Obi-Wan isn't positive, but you genuinely have some of the most uplifting Obi-Wan moments ever. So, like, I don't understand the issue because Obi-Wan's a little sad in the beginning. Like,
Yeah, it just doesn't. It feels like very. It feels like it's misdirected at shit that like is so much worse in other areas of Kenobi where this doesn't feel as relevant, I'd say, to
Yeah.
criticism of it. I'm blanking. I got to get through this section. I'm actually
Wait,
losing my
you're
focus.
losing brain
Well,
cells.
in lieu of an adequate
Kinda.
explanation from creation or creators, one acknowledges the
What does that have to do with anything? What does that picture have to do with fucking anything? Are you
The
kidding
Force is
me?
female. That doesn't
What does this have to do with anything?
that had nothing to do with Star Wars, my guy.
What does it have
There-
to do with fucking Kenobi? Women was not the reason he was fucking sad. Are you
Obi-Wan's
Ah!
an incel.
between this and the people who were like, guys, Kenobi's bisexual now. They've ruined his character. I'm I'm just
trend.
Obi-Wan
can't-
was ruined because they were he was a little he was a bit of an incel. That's why they ruined his character.
I'm losing my fucking mind. I'm sick of Kenobi. I'm sick of people making these dumbass points against Kenobi relating to
Alright,
women.
we can move on
like,
from Kenobi.
but guys, we didn't know Obi-Wan can't be bi. He was straight. We know this because he dated Sabine. That just tells me you think that just tells me you think being bisexual is faking being gay, which I can't fucking stand. Like, we might have to. We
only date the other gender.
Yeah, like me and we might have to do a stream about that Kenobi like book thing about that supposedly, mind you, I hate both aspects of it. People freaking out like this confirms he's bisexual. It's like it really fucking doesn't. But okay, sure.
He's a fruity boy.
It was like it was a page of a book of him thinking like, would I want to kiss anybody? Nah, I don't really. And people treated it like the book was promoting grooming or that he was canonically definitively bi. And I'm just like, I'm not against Obi-Wan Kenobi being a thing. I just like the way people jumped on it, both positive and negative. I was just like,
you see the way he sits in the prequel trilogy? He's absolutely gay.
I'm fine with Kenobi being fruity or whatever. I just thought that whole situation was like dumb. And I got into an argument with a person who was really stupid. You might know them, OG Star Wars fan or something.
Oh, I know her. I remember her.
Yeah.
She's interesting. Anyway, Kylo Ren, I don't even know, how does Kylo Ren ruin the lore? He's an original character.
Though
Yeah,
he'd
what-
committed patricide, avunculicide, amicicide, and mass murder, Ben Solo, aka Kylo Ren, conjured his own
Adam Driver is a big ass nose.
I was not expecting that.
Well,
He
the good thing is
does.
that I'm just
but
reporting-
I was not expecting that. I was about to stop it and be like, I don't even know what any of those words are. I think you could have just left it at genocide.
No, yeah.
but that is even better of a response.
Hey, I'm just happy that one of the three of us is actually contributing something of worth. This guy's talking about how like women like killed his dog or something, and I'm like, you can land a plane on that one nose, dude.
I know. Okay, so I know what he's about to say here. He's going to say like, listen, I agree. This whole Kylo talking to Solo thing was weird. Like the whole forgiving yourself thing. I have mixed opinions on it, but like
It wasn't
again,
him this is just meant to be a visualization of his internal conflict. It's not him actually saying, I think my dad forgave me. It's him realizing that his dad still loved him, and he's basically righting the wrong of what he should have done originally. Like, it's not him saying, my dad forgave me. It's him saying, this is what my dad would have wanted.
yeah,
I feel like there's a difference between those two things.
right. Like you can, and I've seen these kinds of scenes before in the stuff where like a character imagines what other people would want for them in their head. It's like this conscience arguing with him effectively. So I don't mind this scene. It was one of the only times in Rise of Skywalker where I was genuinely surprised. So
It was a good moment. It was the only moment in the movie where it was working.
it was this part. This was the part of the movie. Like Rise of Skywalker's first half is so on crack that after like Rey stabs him, it's like, oh my god! Finally, that exact nanosecond is when the movie decides to slow down and be decently paced for the most part. At least
And then
from
it
what
goes
I
back
remember.
to
Again, I
being
haven't
the
seen this
same.
fucking movie in years, so
Me
I
neither.
again, like
Absolution.
aside from Force Awakens, I don't really like the sequels.
Me
I
neither.
just don't.
I like
I
one
just-
and a half of the sequel trilogy.
I just don't hate them. I like Force Awakens a lot, and I mainly enjoy watching that on its own for like thinking of where it could have gone. But the Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, I'm just like, I don't care. Like I'm done with there's little bits and pieces of those movies I like or rewatch on YouTube every once in a blue moon. That's it. Like
All I'm saying is Rey better keep her pixie cut in the new movie, or I'm gonna lose my fucking mind.
Besides, fucking Rise of Skywalker killed the Knights of Ren. One of the only parts I was genuinely excited for. They just went out like bitches, and I'm just like, I will say, there's a good video I've seen called like a critique of Disney Star Wars or the Star Wars sequels by a content creator named DX. He critiqued the sequels in a way that I felt was actually fair and balanced, where he was just looking at the story stuff and not making some shit about like agendas or this or that. And when he was talking about the Scott, it's like an hour long. He talks about each movie his own way. And when he gets to Rise of Skywalker, he has one of my favorite quotes in the video. One of my favorite quotes from that video is the Knights of Ren are a joke. They have no character because nobody could decide on what they were supposed to be. They go out like goofs, and Rey's fight with the guard is even worse. I found his delivery of they go out like goofs to be so funny, because that is basically what fucking happened. I got so invested in what they were going to do with them. Like, ooh, who are these characters? And
One
then
has a fucking gun arm. He didn't even get to fire at. He didn't even get to fire.
They have it done. Didn't the stupid tie-in book or some shit reveal they had like fucking lightsaber proof weapons or something, and then they just
Well,
didn't-
obviously they did, because they were fighting Kylo with melee. So like obviously they
Right.
were like
They didn't even
but
get a line. That's the other thing. Like they couldn't even get a single word in.
the fucking duel with like the cape. He had like a Beskar like axe.
That's fucking cool. I would have liked to
Like,
see
you
him
didn't.
use
I'm
it
sure
in
you
a-
didn't know that it was a Mandalorian executioner axe. I'm sure you didn't know that.
Wow, that sounds cool. I wish he actually got to fucking use it in a fight scene that was actually decently lit. Like,
No,
and
Kylo
couldn't-
threw him off a cliff.
Yeah, that's so wow, such a great resolution. See, and look, to anybody in chat that thinks we're just ragging on the video, by the way, if there is anyone, listen to our words. Clearly, I'm not like a big Star Wars defender here in terms of the sequels. I'm just not like a hater either. I'm trying to be. I just can't be fucked to care.
The frame I paused on, it's a really funny photo of just Ben like walking around and the Knights of Ren are behind him.
Wait, hold on. Is it me, or do the Knights of Ren, like the stance of the Knight of Ren on the left, spread his arms out a little more? It's like that fucking meme edit of Pink Guy walking up to Ben.
It is. So this is me. It's you could caption this. It's me on a Sunday, and the Knights of Ren.
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna
go to school on tomorrow.
I want to hold on. I'm screenshotting this. Don't play it. I'm screenshotting this, and I'm gonna try to edit Pink Guy into this frame.
Just edit him right next to.
I might work on this while we. I might work on that while we do this. This is so fucking good. Anyway,
the fact that I know their names is really depressing.
To be fair, I know the names of Star Force and Captain Marvel, and they barely got jack shit to do in that movie. So you can. I'm in the same boat with that stuff.
I wish their night. Did you see the chat?
No, hold on. What do I got?
Their Knight Ren, their Knight Renine me aren't.
As a big noser, I can confirm Adam is big nose.
Their Knight Ren 9'd me aren't. It's so bad.
Wait, hold on. Knights of Ren, more like Knights of Riz. Boom, brain rot, got him.
I
just cue the fucking get out meme.
I wanted to just do the fucking Vine boom sound effect.
What you need is the fucking get out sound effect that's been on TikTok. Oh god, sorry, I'm just saying real quick. This Pink Guy edit I'm gonna make is even funnier because I can't find the original Pink Guy like a pose without like as a vector image. So I have to crop it myself from the Bane meme. This is gonna be so good.
Of his father, the scene that took place in his mind. Yet afterward, J.J. Abrams wanted audiences to accept his face turn and root for him. Anakin Skywalker's expulsion of Darth Vader wasn't a wipe the slate clean moment. He died for his wrongs, but he took solace in a future for his children, a solid moral lesson. One can always change the future, but one cannot always escape the past. Emo Ren just switched sides like a professional wrestler. His subsequent death wasn't a consequence of his evil deeds. He never suffered for his crimes.
He died though.
I do agree that Kylo's redemption wasn't great, but like
you're saying he never suffered for his crimes, but he died. He died. Kylo Ren died. Why are you're saying that Kylo Ren didn't pay for his crimes, but he died?
Yeah.
He sacrificed himself to save the person he loved. What are you talking about? You're lying. You're saying that it didn't wipe the slate clean like with Vader, but with Kylo, that's the exact same thing. Kylo Ren sacrificed himself to redeem himself. Why are you lying? Why are you like this? Why are you doing this to me? No! I thought we were free of Kenobi.
Okay, so I have thankfully avoided most discussions relating to Reva. My opinion of the character is basically what Shafrilla's said in his Kenobi review. Obviously, you're a racist piece of shit if you go after the actress for being black, but her character is not that great to me.
I thought
that's my opinion.
I thought Reva was fine. I thought Reva was average.
She's definitely not my favorite Inquisitor. That's for sure. Like I'm gonna be.
She's the 5th best Inquisitor, and she's still like C tier.
Right. I'll be honest. I liked fucking. Let me double check this just to make sure I got the right name because I sometimes get. What? Okay, no. So was it the which? Okay, so I know. I know Trilla is the second sister in Fallen Order. Which number is Masana tied again?
Masana Tide is the ninth sister.
Okay, I honestly liked Ninth Sister way more than Riva. I didn't expect
I mean,
much
yeah,
of her
obviously
character,
she's obviously hotter, but
but I didn't expect much of her character, but I was genuinely surprised by how much I enjoyed her vibe, her vocal performance, and her voice was a nice subversion as well. I was expecting something a lot different, but I was
she was cool.
happy to be proven wrong. And like, dude, that whole like I barely remember a single fucking line from Kenobi, but I still remember like most of Masana's speech about like when you're being an Inquisitor has taught me there are no setbacks. When you've already lost yourself, a limb is easy. While she just force lifts the saber behind Cal, like that's fucking badass. Please bring back like that kind of badass Inquisitor. Also, I'm gonna actually no quick rant. I heard before Kenobi came out that fucking, what was it, Jason Isaacs or whoever, the guy that played the Grand Inquisitor in that show, apparently, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but there was some news that said, like, he gets the flying lightsaber in the show. Like, he gets to fly with the fucking Inquisitor saber.
No, because the guy who played him in Kenobi, Rupert Friend, he's like, oh yeah, the Grand Inquisitor's cool. He's like, he's like,
okay, I don't know why I thought fucking Jason Isaacs.
No. Basically, he was like, oh, the Grand Inquisitor is so cool. He's like, he has a double-bladed lightsaber. I get to
okay, so
that he's like, I can fly with it. And people were like, oh, he's gonna get to fly in Kenobi, but no, he just meant like the character.
Okay, so it was basically like poor wording from an interview that misled people. Okay, I will say though, I wanted to fucking see that. I don't care if people hate the flying lightsaber shit or think it's stupid.
The fact that Marok didn't get to do it, I thought he was going to do it in Ahsoka.
I wanted to fucking see that. That would have been like the cool. I don't care if it would have been funny or cool. I unironically wanted to see that in live action just to see how much they'd fuck it up. Because
I thought he was going to do it when he was fighting Ahsoka, because when Shin shows up to like rescue him from Corellia, he sees it and he sees Shin's ship. And he starts warring up his lightsaber, and I was like, "Oh my god, he's gonna do it!" But he just throws the lightsaber at Ahsoka to distract her, and then he jumps. So
I really, dude, how much funnier and more iconic would the scene like this? Remember in Kenobi how they basically tried to pull some fake out shit with the Grand Inquisitor being like, "Surprise! This character that was alive in fucking Rebels was not dead the whole time. Wow, who would have thunk?" Well, like that scene where he's like surprised to see me while Riva's on the ground or whatever. Imagine how much fucking funnier and better that scene would have been had you just like from Riva's POV, you just see Darth Vader standing there, and behind him, you just see that bald fucker slowly levitate down with the spinning lightsaber raised in the air. That would have been the funniest shit and would have made me love. Because I'll say it, I hate the Grand Inquisitor in Kenobi. I thought their take on him there was so lame.
I never liked that character anyway, so I really didn't care. So
I did in Rebels, and I thought it was so fucking dumb the way they handled him. I was just like, I could forgive the makeup to an extent, but the way they did him, I was just like, really, you're gonna pull a fake out death? Okay, sure, yeah, whatever.
I liked him in Tales of the Empire, but other than that,
which I have not seen, by the way. I still have to check
he's
out.
Really good in that. I like him.
Okay, good. I still have not seen Tales of the Empire. I really want to. So
I just don't like him in Rebels. I just don't think he's that cool. Like people say he was ruined in Kenobi, but I don't even think he was good to begin with. Like I just didn't like.
Well, that might be a disagreement day between us at that point.
Ooh, interesting. All right, I want to see what he has to say about Riva, but I'm sure it'll be very constructive and not racist at all.
Okay. Well, and yeah, maybe it won't be. For all
it
we
may
know.
not be. Maybe.
Yeah, because
I'm gonna put up a stopwatch and I'm gonna time and see how long it takes for him to say something racist. We're gonna. All right, I'm gonna get the stopwatch ready. All right.
Sister held a grudge after Darth Vader executed Order 66 at the Jedi Temple, where she was a youngling. He stabbed her through the chest with his lightsaber, so years later she joined him as an Inquisitor to hunt and kill Jedi for a good cause. Reva's plan, as shown in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Step 1, earn Vader's trust through homicidal behavior. Step 2, assassinate Vader once in proximity. She justified maiming, torturing, and murdering as means to an end. When she failed at everything, Obi-Wan exonerated her. In George's Star Wars, she would have been a villain. In Kennedy's Star Wars, she was a victim. Who am I kidding? George would have never allowed this character in Star Wars.
Okay.
I mean,
by the way, I want
maybe.
to congratulate you for not being racist. That was actually cool of you. Secondly, I want to say, you can be a bad guy and a victim at the same time.
Yes. Yeah,
You
I
can
find his
say it like
framing
those are-
there
Yeah.
a little disingenuous. Like to
That's-
say
yeah,
as if
very
to suggest that, as if this suggests the idea that the Inquisitors are all pure evil. We literally see that the Inquisitors are basically browbeaten into being awful, terrible people because they think they have no choice in the matter.
Yeah,
we
bringing
see
it
that.
back to your speech with Masana.
Yes, with Masana especially. Like it's just
Masana is very much a bad person, but she is also a
back to the speech, like she was saying there, like, I was a Jedi once. Maybe we should have them bring you in so we can watch you break like the rest of us. Just wait for the torture, isolation, mutilation, and your friends. Like, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Bad person and victim at the same time. Like, it's...
I would say the only one who wasn't a victim was the Grand Inquisitor, because he actively contributed to them being created. But other than that, like, I would say that Barriss was absolutely a victim. Fourth Sister was absolutely a victim.
By the way,
I think Barriss was the only one who wasn't a bad guy because she didn't actually kill anyone. But well, technically, but
by the way, Joe, check your Instagram.
Oh no. Oh no. This is great. I want to save this. He just sent me the Frothy Frank meme. It's really cool. But the night, like, I don't know. I feel like it's very disingenuous to say that Reva, like you're saying that, oh, Reva killed Jedi when she was once a Jedi, and it's like, yes, that's a cruel irony. That's meant to be the point. Like, it's meant to be her like, it's basically the epitome of you have become the very thing you swore to destroy. And Obi-Wan only exonerates her after she realizes what she has done is wrong. After she says, "Have I become him?" And Obi-Wan says, "No, you have given them peace." And then she throws the lightsaber away and he says, "And now you're free." Like, it's I don't like Reva that much, but
same.
I can say that the show was definitely not saying, Reva, you are a good person and you are definitely not a bad guy. It was saying that she gave closure to those she wanted to avenge by learning what she did was wrong. Like, you're like, she actively recognized that what she was doing was the wrong thing. And I do think that we should probably see her again, because she has to probably do a lot more to pay for her crimes, because she's probably killed a ton of Jedi. But
right,
I feel it's very disingenuous to say that both of these. We're gonna skip the Luke one, by the way. I really no. He's
okay.
gonna Sabine. I was right about Sabine.
Also, he misspelled Ren. It's W-R-E-N, but I mean, he probably hates the character, so who fucking cares?
All right, let's see what he has to say about my girl, the love of my life. If Sabine wasn't dating a Praetorian guard, I would totally marry her.
Very well. Was she's dating a Praetorian?
Oh, in real life, Natasha Liu is dating...
Oh, okay, I thought there was some lore I missed or some shit.
No. Natasha Liu is dating Kurt Nelson, who...
okay.
He played one of the Praetorian guards in The Mandalorian.
Right. I think I remember this now, actually. I might have seen this on your Instagram or something.
By the way, Kurt, if you're watching this, I'm kidding. You and your girlfriend are wonderful, wonderful people.
Oh yeah,
You were
that's
very
right. You got to
very
worry because now after your interview, you're actually networking with these people and shit. It's like you got to be conscious that
You know,
people will be
he's
watching.
Yeah, you.
I
are
gotta
a
be
very
dude.
lucky
I gotta be
guy.
ready for that if I ever get into like animation scenes because I took shots at Vivzy Pop in my fucking Hell of a Has Been video. I gotta be careful about the shit I say to animators now because it's like, wait, if I want to network, that's oh dear.
Yeah, it's
Anyway, Sabine,
just, I want to see
yes.
what she has to say about my girl.
The suddenly Force-sensitive Sabine Wren handed over a star map that led to the return of Grand Admiral Thrawn. Why did she assist the baddies?
Because she loves her friend. Moving on.
Her backstory is the development of a superweapon that the Empire used to destroy her people. She apparently learned nothing from her own experiences.
No, she didn't.
She handed over a map, not a super weapon. I get what he's trying to say, but like that's not the same. It's not a perfect like.
By the
if
way,
it
you're
even
saying
is-
Sabine learned nothing, but buddy, I gotta tell you.
Oh
something.
yeah, that's the other thing. Sabine learned nothing. We literally had an entire fucking lightsaber duel of her venting and expressing her issues, and
I'm
then
pretty sure he's referring to Ahsoka Sabine specifically. I think that.
well,
that's
no, because he mentions like her backstory is like a weapon in Imperial hands and this and that. That's referring to the weapons she built for the Empire.
Yeah, the
and
Duchess.
that were used on Mandalore. And then in fucking like the episode after the Kanan episode, she goes back and joins up with the House of Ren to fight Gar Saxon and take
I
back
think he's
Mandalore.
referring to she learned nothing in terms of giving the map to Balin. I think that's what he means. But also, buddy, I gotta tell you something. The show isn't over yet. We have another season.
That is true.
You're probably gonna do more with it. Considering that Sabine and Shin are probably gonna become friends, they're probably gonna talk about mistakes they've made in their lives. Like, I don't know. I feel like this is also very disingenuous because the show isn't over yet. This is also a really cool
Sure,
picture of
Dave-
Sabine right here. I actually really like this photo.
Filoni rewrote Sabine for no good reason. Fans
What do you mean he rewrote Sabine? What?
If he's like if he said now had he said that Dave Filoni rewrote in this connection between Ahsoka and Sabine when they've like literally never interacted, I would understand that.
Jedi. He's going to talk about her being Jedi. He's not even going to talk about Ahsoka. This is so fucking predictable.
Let's see what he's got. Let's see what he's got.
couldn't recognize her from Rebels. She could have stopped the Empire and honored Ezra's sacrifice, but she facilitated the Empire's resurgence based on her friend's own love for Ezra.
What?
I thought they dropped the whole like obviously they cared about each other, but I thought they dropped the whole romance.
They never well, Ezra definitely liked Sabine, but
they never pursued that.
Yeah, what are you talking about? They never
How selfish and short-sighted. And
yeah, it was a selfish decision, but that was the point of the show. Like she made a mistake because she was emotionally vulnerable at that point, and she was being manipulated by a bad guy in a point of weakness.
Also, didn't Ahsoka mention that there were already whispers of Thrawn's return regardless, so there was at least some basis of, hey, maybe we should go find out if Thrawn is out there and is still a genuine problem?
Well, I mean, if the map was destroyed, Thrawn definitely would have been trapped for even longer. I'm sure they would have found another way, but that was the make or break at that point in time. So this is Sabine's fault, but it is understandable in my opinion. I feel like saying Sabine made the wrong decision. It's like, yes, but I'm sure you would have too if you were in that position as well. Like, it wouldn't have been the right thing to do, but I think anyone in that situation would have been incredibly, like, especially Sabine for so long being detached from her friend, she absolutely would have made that decision. Because the whole point of Rebels is Sabine learning to be less selfish and learning to be less impulsive because she puts her family first. And obviously we see her being impulsive, but she does it because she loves her family. One of her most iconic lines is "Everything I did was for Mandalore," which is her referring to her family, meaning she always puts family first. She loves her family.
Right.
So I don't understand what the argument is here.
And instead of rebuke for her indefensible action, Sabine received corroboration.
Indefensible. Okay, hold the fuck on.
No,
and even if even if the action was selfish, it was selfish in favor of getting somebody who was cast out into a dangerous location back alive. Like,
Also,
and for all they knew at that point, yes, there were whispers about Thrawn's return, but like, how fortified could he have even been at that point if like reaching out back to the Imperial forces that were left? Because there's a risk that Thrawn could have come back, but there's also risk they could have fucking beat him had they found him. Like, the guy is framing this as if it's some.
Also, I hate that he says that Ahsoka corroborates her, when in context, Ahsoka basically says, "You made a mistake and that's okay, but do what you can now to make it better." And Sabine helps Ezra get home, and she sacrifices herself to stay behind. Like,
right.
Sabine puts other people first before herself at that point. Like, I really hate how disingenuous this guy's being about Sabine. I like how we're starting the video and we're ending the video with him being really disingenuous toward two female Mandalorians. It's very, I like that. It's like poetry.
Well, this is the second to last one. We're not even at the final one.
Wait, there's another one?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's at number 2.
Who's the real villain?
The Acolyte provided.
Okay.
Fucking kill me right now, dude. Just fucking lightning to the forehead. I want to. Dude, I swear to God, we opened the video talking about Osha and her being the villain. We did not plan on this.
Time is a circle.
I saw this funny comment from Star Wars Network. Kurt watching this be like,
yeah,
dude, stop cucking me.
We literally did the fucking Doctor Strange quote I brought up earlier. Congratulations, you're a prophet. We predicted this shit.
God. Oh
my god. Man. I was not expecting
Osha,
this.
Osha, I like how we're meant to show Osha getting a red lightsaber. It's like, yeah, Osha's the good guy now.
Yeah, she made a crystal bleed and murdered a man who killed somebody she cared about. Yes, but on accident.
Snapped the man's trachea. That means that she's the good guy.
Yeah, totally. Snapped a man's trachea and selfishly chose her sister and a Sith over the world. She's totally a good guy. Like,
the clearest example of immorality in a Kennedy film production. Jedi school dropout Osha choked her former master to death using the dark side of the Force. This climax intended applause, but it elicited disparagement.
I did not see this as a cheer-worthy moment.
Look at Soul right here. How sad he is. His life.
Yeah, like
eyes.
I didn't see this. I saw this as like a dark, morally gray moment.
Yeah.
Like
look at my boy from Squid Game. He looks really. I actually want to move because I actually don't like seeing Lee Jung-jae in pain. That actually makes me really sad. Like,
Lee Jung-jae as Jedi Master Saul carried the series, and his heel.
I technically agree there. He was
actually no. I do agree. He did a good job.
He was great.
I want to meet him. I just want to give him a hug, dude. He seems so wholesome. This isn't even me doing a bit. I genuinely love Lee Jung-jae.
Yeah, he's dope.
Yeah. Oh my god, he has the coolest freaking voice too. I really wish I was going to Japan next year for Star Wars Celebration, but the Lee Jung-jae is going to be there with Manny Jacinto, and I want to meet them so bad. I love those actors. They were easily the best parts of the show, but and also I read an interview about Lee talking about like racism in the Star Wars fan base, and he was like, he said he was really surprised by the racism that he received.
That
And
just goes. That to me just shows he's better than most of us because he's not in aspects of the Star Wars fandom.
Yeah,
that
no, he
suck.
was like, I wasn't expecting to see all that, like all the race. I was like, Lee, I love you, you sweet summer child, but
Yeah,
I saw it coming from a mile away.
same. Like I saw from the moment the Acolyte trailer fucking dropped, I was like, oh,
I
here we
saw it the
go.
moment it was announced.
Yeah, fair enough.
That is
Also, while we're fucking here, since we're talking about like the Kathleen Kennedy witch hunt that these people love pushing so much, let's see. I'm on her IMDb right now, and I have to say, people love to treat Kathleen Kennedy like she's only here because of feminism and wokeness and this and that. But if I may go on to list some of her executive producer, and associate producer credits, these include, let's see, Poltergeist, E.T. Extraterrestrial, The Twilight Zone movie, Temple of Doom, Gremlins, The Goonies, Back to the Future, The Color Purple, An American Tale, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, The Land Before Time, Little Nemo Adventures in Slumberland, Back to the Futures Part 2 and 3, Gremlins 2, Arachnophobia, Hook, another classic kids film I've heard about that people really like, Tiny Toon Adventures, a very beloved show, Jurassic Park, a beloved film. What else we got? Executive producer on Schindler's List, executive producer on Balto, producer on Twister. Like, people really love to act like Kathleen Kennedy is just here because of fucking girl power. She's been an executive producer connected to multiple, like, beloved nostalgic films since at least fucking the 1980s. Like,
no,
she's...
but Kevin, you don't understand. She turned to the dark side.
Also, actually, while we're here, well, okay, if we want to critique Kathleen Kennedy so bad and we got issues here, hey, Star Wars fans, here's something you should actually critique Kathleen Kennedy for: being an executive producer for the fucking Shyamalan Last Airbender movie.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's listed on her official executive producer credits. M. Night Shyamalan's Last Airbender.
You know, maybe we actually can cancel her. I want to hop on.
Like, if you want to criticize her for some shit, even if it is stupid, there's something for you. There's
It's like
something.
I turned into J. Jonah Jameson. Bring me Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah.
I don't want to finish this video because I guarantee you it was just.
And
Oh.
again, but yeah, to close out, I guess, like, this is just the points he's making here. He's acting like these are some big points that summarize everything wrong with Lucasfilm. And the
Oh
problem,
my god!
I
Look
think,
at the comment. OSHA killing Soul was the sake of wish fulfillment. She stopped the man from mansplaining. What?
I don't want to take that seriously because I know there's trolls and people who joke and stuff, but like, I just also, oh yeah, Lisa Headland, yet another name that they bitch and moan about. Like, y'all just treat some of these people like they're just the
I
biggest
think her name
fucking
is
asshole.
Leslie Headland.
Okay, well, yeah, Leslie Headland. Like, the way they just treat some of these people is like, just get the fuck over yourselves.
I think I may want to be a feminist now because people hate women so much.
It's just so like they immediately hate, like, the moment. Also, I just want to say this a lot. I don't even think I need to, but again, a lot of these people, they always talk about like these fucking agendas and how people, like, the problems with agendas. Okay, first off, a vision and what you want to depict with that vision, that's an agenda. Like, that's, if you want to depict something that's personal to you, fucking Lucas had a Vietnam War inspired agenda when making Star Wars. People just like to pretend now shit is political because it's the politics they don't like. Let's be real. Like, with a lot of these pieces of media, they'll talk about shit like, oh, don't be political, don't be political. No, you mean don't be political in a way you don't like. Like, let's be fucking for real. And especially, like, there are some cases where politics are literally fucking necessary for some stories. Like, one of the big complaints of the fucking sequel trilogy was that their politics were undefined, that the world building of the galaxy was unexplored. That's political. That's a political thing. Fuck. Here's another good example. Captain America: Civil War, a mostly agreed upon great movie, is a political movie. The inception of the film is related to a fucking political action, a political decision with the Sokovia Accords. Yes, there's a revenge story in there with Zemo and Bucky and T'Challa, but the politics are important because it puts restrictions and problems in place for the Avengers and propels the story forward. So when people say keep politics out of media, what they really mean is quit making it so left-leaning. At least that's what it feels like most of the time, because a lot of these people that'll bitch and moan about that stuff, they'll show their, I mean, we don't even need to discuss geeks and gamers and their fucking, like, all this talk of agendas when their main dude is a fucking Trump supporter with a secondary channel that sucks his dick a lot. It's like, it's I feel like, mind you, maybe I'm being a little hypocritical because I talked earlier about stuff that's not new and that people have already said already, and here I am repeating points I've said for years. But in my defense, these people in the Star Wars fandom just do the same shit. A lot of these people act like some of these takes are some of just like the most biggest brained things ever fucking said about like, this is maybe I'm just losing it, man. I'm so sick of all it's just.
Do you want to end it here? You sound very emotional.
A little. I'm just tired. I'm like, this isn't even like the worst video I've ever seen. This wasn't like god awful.
Oh no, not even close.
This is just so like, what was like?
What was the point?
I get where he's trying to come from with some of it, but the rest of it, I'm just like, I've either heard it all before, or I'm just like, what are you talking about? Or why are you making this so much more malicious than it sounds at points? Maybe the next video we plan to discuss in the future will be better. Maybe. Probably. I don't know, because at least the person we're going to be discussing tries to like at least in this case they'll hopefully try to discuss the media and not the fucking politics. Like actually I know they won't, because they mock these kinds of people just as much as we do. I've seen them do it, so at least there's that. But yeah, regardless, this was still fun. I don't want to make it seem like I've been miserable. This was very entertaining.
Thank you for being on here, Kevin. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I'm always
got anything you want to plug?
Yeah, kinda. I guess follow me if you wish. I am Elephant Power Productions on YouTube. I make video essays where I talk about what I want to talk about. My next one actually will be out again, like I kind of said earlier, either this Friday or next Sunday. And it's about a DreamWorks movie. It's just a good video made with some fun to kind of tide me over from my Halloween video where I was like paranoid making it. So that's nice. And then oh yeah, I'm not gonna say too many details on it because I'll mention it a little more in the upcoming video. But I have since April, I've been working on my first animation for my channel, a fan animation. So and that will be dropping January 6th. If anybody is interested, it's for a specific fandom, so I'm not going to act like it's for everyone or even Star Wars related. It isn't, but it is something that I'm very happy about. So hopefully the reactions to that'll be as good as they have been to the people I've shown sneak peeks to. And yeah, that's the main stuff for me to plug. I'm also on Blue Sky now. I finally jumped ship from Twitter. Fuck X or whatever it is now. Yeah, that's basically all I got to plug. I gotta say it like the TikToks do. Plug. There we go. Got it now.
All right. Have a great night, okay, Kevin?
Yeah, you too, man. Take care.